Ken here with East Meets West Martial Arts. I'm here again with Soki Bobby Briggs. However, I'm doing this quick intro into our podcast. The reason is you're going to see when we start, I was having some technical issues and we didn't get this first portion recorded properly. So it's freezing and it's really disjointed. So we'll probably do another video on it. But we were talking about McDojos. And we're going to have another show on this in the future, I'm sure. But we started off with this idea of physical, mental, or sexual abuse at a dojo. It can be very real, as it can be in many institutions. One of the most dangerous institutions out there for kids to go to is actually public schools. People don't like to talk about that much, but the statistics are pretty there. It's not necessarily the most safest place. It happens, of course, in churches and in scouts, and it happens in many other places. It also can happen in the martial arts. So we'll probably readdress this topic about McDojos and this idea. If you want to see some other work on it, Rob at McDojo Life is having a documentary. I don't know if it's completed yet, or I think it's completed. I don't know if it's out yet. I've not seen it, where he addresses this issue. He's addressed it on his show. But we will address it in a future topic because it's very real. Both Soki and I have been in law enforcement for many years. I was in the military. He was in the military and as a civilian officer. And I have worked in many crisis prevention programs for homes and for women about spotting these things. But it can happen in the dojo. It can happen to all ages. And so we discussed that. So if it seems like something is left out, that was the topic that for some reason just wasn't recording at the time. And maybe it's Providence. Maybe it's because we need to do a full show on that one as well. Anyways, here's our show on McDojos. I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't know what happened.
Okay.
I was sitting here with my arms crossed on this table talking and listening to you, and then all of a sudden everything just went like poof.
Yeah, I was waiting for something else, and I could see your picture. You just froze, and then you went completely out, and it had your name on there, and obviously you couldn't hear me or anything. So, yeah. But we were talking about the black belt, guaranteed promotions, and and I know there are many. I call them black belt farms where they just produce black belt after black belt after black belt. And I don't think it's as bad now as it used to be. And I don't know if there's been an overreaction, but boy, there was one time in the late 80s, early 90s. I can't tell you how many black belts I ran into who were black belts in 7, 8, 9 months. Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, that reminds me. I know this guy. Well, let's just say this. I know him. This guy, and when I first met him, I think he was a 7th or 8th Dan black belt, and he has his own little like Hall of Fame that he does and stuff like that, and I think he started off with good intentions of getting different black belts in the Carolinas into this Hall of Fame. Then all of a sudden, and he's a big butt kisser, man. And then all of a sudden, he is inducting police officer from this agency, sheriff from this agency, highway patrol from this agency into this martial arts thing. And next thing I know, and he's also doing promotions, promoting people. Now, this guy was either 7th or 8th Dan. He's doing promotions and promoting people and getting it signed off to promote them to like 9th and 10th Dan. And I'm like, how the hell is all that shit working? I mean, that just blows my mind, And then lo and behold, he promotes this other guy that's friends with him. He promotes him to a 10th Dan. And, well, let me back up. Before he promotes him 10th Dan, the one that I'm talking to you about gets his 9th Dan. Somehow or another, he gets up to like his 9th Dan. Anyway, he promotes one of his friends to a 10th Dan. And I swear to you, like 2 or 3 months later, his friend turns around and promotes him to a 10th Dan. And I'm like, are you flipping kidding me? And how people cannot look at that shit and how they cannot, I don't know. I just don't understand how you can look at that and think that it's okay.
Yeah, that's
That's a big red flag to for McDojo, and he turns out some good students. He really does. And this guy's all about sport karate. And from my understanding, he used to be pretty good in sport karate as far as like forms and stuff. I've never heard anybody say that he was much of anything in fighting, but in forms, I've heard people say that he was good. All this was why I was in the military and I wasn't around here, so I can't say one way or the other. But man, it just blows my mind how you can promote people to higher ranks than you. And you, it's like me coming to you and say, "Hey, Ken, I'll promote you to this rank. We'll give it 2 or 3 months, and then you promote me to this
yeah.
rank." I mean, that
Yeah.
just blows. And people don't have an issue with it. I mean, some of their close friends like, "Oh, he's so great. And he's this and he's that," and I'm like, "You guys, you know,
Yeah. Well,
it's
and I
like
don't get
you're
that
so
either.
snowed over."
Yeah, I was actually, and you know this because I was embarrassed probably with my seventh, eighth, and ninth dan promotions. I mean, I think there's a point when your sensei tell me, hey, we're gonna get you promoted. You need to do this, this, and this. You finally do it, but I always told you at the beginning, I don't think I'm worthy of that. You
Yeah, I
know,
disagree with that.
Yeah, and
I
well,
mean, you've done so much,
yeah, but
and your background and your pedigree and your training and everything that you have, your entire bio backs up everything that
yeah,
you've done.
yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, but but I always when you're talking about these other people, I don't understand that because I always go to it like, man, I don't know if I'm deserving of this,
Yeah.
and not like with you. I mean, when you got promoted, I think you're eighth, ninth, and tenth. I mean, you had to go down to South Carolina to train,
Mhm.
go
Yeah.
back and forth. It wasn't that okay.
Yeah.
You were going to South Carolina to train, to get those promotions, and
When I got my 10th under Hunchy White, I went down there for 15 days straight and met him. And I
right,
was still working full-time job and went down there. I mean, it wasn't like he just ceremoniously just said, "Hey, you know, I think although he did say, he said, you spent your time, you've done this, that, you've done a lot more than, a lot of other people. You've trained in different areas of the world that most people will never have an opportunity to, and under some good instructors and so forth. And there's no reason for you to be stuck where you're at, you know. Let me help you out with this." But it wasn't like he just gave it to me.
right, exactly.
He told me, he said, "You're going to have to come to me, go
Yeah,
to him,
yeah,
and until I say, okay, we're done."
right.
And it took me 15 days every day after I got off work, and unless it was a day where I was off, and I drove from my house in Charlotte, North Carolina, down to his dojo in Lancaster, South Carolina for 15 straight days. And he said, and then after 15 days, he said, "Well, we're done. I'll let you know how we did."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
And then I heard from him about a week later, and he said, "We're going to have this promotion for you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay."
And
You know,
I was very, very blessed that I got to be there for it. That was
yeah.
something really neat to see for me. Touched me deeply. But you had to pay your dues for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And these people who do that, they just promote themselves. There's this and that segues to the next one. When people tell me, and I've had this happen, so you're gonna really laugh at this one. They got the belt that drops all the way to the floor, the big, big
Yeah,
belts. And they
yeah.
have, and I have ran into three people in my martial art career. I'm 61. I started at the age of 13. I ran into three people, two of them when I was in the military, who claimed to be 11th, 12th, and get this one. I ran into a guy who claimed to be a 20th Dan.
Are
Not,
you kidding me?
not kidding. All of them, I'm going to say this,
Wow.
all of them on the West Coast. So maybe there's a drug out there. I don't know. And not did they say it, but they had, you know, uh, their former karate gis, and the
Yeah.
bells, and they would show up to tournaments and seminars, and
How
the,
embarrassing.
yeah, and I always go if someone says 11th, 12th, or 20th degree,
Oh, yeah.
run. There's
Yeah.
some systems
Or
eighth
if
is the
or if
highest,
you're
ninth or
30, 40
tenth.
years old, if you're 30 or 40 years old and you're a 10th Dan,
Yes,
or,
right.
have been a 10th Dan or a ninth Dan for, X number of years, and you're still very young.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
time for you.
Yeah. I got my third dan, I think it was 40.
Yeah.
And then after a while, the promotions start coming more frequent because you've done more, and your body of work is kind of catching up to
Right.
what you've done.
Yeah.
It just was. I remember when that guy told me it was the 20th dan.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That was in
You know who
Compton.
that reminds me of? Master Ken.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it reminds
And
me of.
and he's a spoof. He's a spoof.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. But I just was like, okay, yeah, okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Which is going to remind me, if I can, I'm going to share a video, and this kind of segues in. I want to get your thoughts on this. So all right. So here are some sparring videos, and I want to get your ideas about this
Oh my
because
gosh.
I find
Surely
these.
you're not going to send me what I think you
Yeah,
are.
I sure am. Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Here we
Yeah,
go.
that's exactly what I thought.
Not serious on this one.
Yeah. Only thing I can say about these people that are doing this, they got to be in halfway decent shape to be moving around that good and that often, but no one's getting touched.
No one's getting touched, right? They have an anaerobic fitness as far as they have a burst of energy, and then they get their breath and they do it again. Now here comes the group kata. I want to mention this because a couple segments ago we talked about synchronized kata.
And you have a 6 degree.
And the fights are only lasting about, 20 seconds?
Our black belt exams, that we're just getting started. You're still in the same
Oh, my
fight.
God.
Yeah.
You ain't even through down in.
Charlie, Dean.
Why the fighting sucks so much now? Look at the time. Couldn't even do that if I tried. If I was wanting to make a good comedy for a TV show, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not that good of an actor.
I'm not either. There we go. Okay, I'm back to the screen. So I now that's old. I want to say that's like 16 years old. I assume that the system is still around. I don't know if the head instructor is still around. He's the bald guy who called for the 6th degree to get out there. But I bring that up as a potential McDojo because they do a couple things that I think are
Potential?
just.
Did you say potential dojo? Come on, brother. Come on.
Well, they
Don't
are,
let
but
me down.
I'm trying to be kind to the wider audience.
Okay.
Yeah, but the one is the sparring.
Oh, my
Now it's a 4th degree black belt exam. and there's no contact, and you notice it's a pattern. So obviously they practice the same thing over and over again.
Oh yeah.
Side kick or round kicks to the body, block, the sweeping blocks at that kick.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, they're holding it here, waiting for the kick. I don't know if you
Yeah.
noticed that. They're just like, here it comes. I'm gonna get it. And then the punches to the head, I mean, they threw some, and not one time was there a kick to the head. Not a once from black belts. Even as a black belt who's trained at a certain level, especially at a certain age, you should be able to kick the head. If you're doing non-contact sparring, to not make contact unless it just sometimes someone runs into it or whatever. But
Right.
but it's everybody's the same thing, the same stance, arms up here. By the way,
Oh,
if they did that to me, I'd be keeping the hospital full of people with broken ribs that night because I would.
Man, my mouth would be watering all day long if
Oh,
you done
no,
that.
oh, no.
I'm like, yeah, buddy, we about to have some fun.
Have some fun. But they're taught in a certain pattern and they all repeat it.
Oh yeah.
Every one of them repeat it. And so when I teach, I try to find what really kind of work. I try to mold. I take the system, but when it comes to sparring, okay, what's going to work for you? What's going to make you good? What's going to do the trick for you? And I say that because, Avery again, and I'll have to send her a message say, hey, we brought her up, but she fought a different way, unorthodox for a lot of people, but it worked for her. She was terrific.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to say, okay, you learned all the techniques, but what's going to work for you? And I find it just amazing. What do you think about their sparring? I talked enough on that
Oh my
one.
gosh. You don't want to know what I think. As a matter of fact, I couldn't tell you on here with a listening audience what my true feelings is on their sparring or their kata, because I try to be a better person than that. I mean, it just I can't tell you using clean language what I think about their sparring or their kata. Let's just say,
Let's say that, yeah.
I mean, it's disgraceful.
It is
It is
disgraceful.
disgraceful.
Yeah, and here's my next thing I want to bring up. Everybody wants to blame the school. I think the school takes a lot of blame. The head instructor, but there's a point, especially in today's age. Now I don't know if that style's still around. As I said, that's at least 16 years old, I believe, when that got out, and maybe a little bit older. But there's tons of black belts in that system. There's other videos that are out there. Tons of black
I
belts.
mean, you can see them all sitting around.
All sitting around, right. There's a point, though, where the consumer, for lack of a better word, has to be wise and go like, something's wrong here. Because you
Right.
can go out and you can go out and check other schools. You can check on the internet. You can check even movies or whatever. You can get out there and see, wait a minute, something's wrong here. The way they perform these, even if you don't know the word kata, prearranged movements, that
Right.
doesn't look right.
No.
And so while I blame the head instructor, I also have to put a little bit on the consumer and say, after a while, you got to go, okay, something's not right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you think about that.
Well, and this is something that just really puzzles me. It always has puzzled me. For you to have black belts, it's like, yeah, like I've promoted 200, 300, 400 black belts in my life, something like that. I mean, that is just absolutely crazy. I would rather be an instructor that's like, you know what? I've only had 5, 10, 15, 20 black belts because that's all the ones that could cut it,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because black belt should stand out from everybody else. If your test is no harder, if you've only been teaching for, say, let's just say 30 years, you've been teaching for 30 years and you got 300 or 400 black belts, you've been selling black belts.
Right. You're a
I'm
black
sorry.
belt farm. Right.
Yeah, you just have. I mean, that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
If you got a commercial school and I can see a commercial school producing more than like what we have.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you get 300-400 in 5 years, and that's all you. Nah. There's something wrong there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something wrong there. Yeah. And I just find
And
that.
not only do you have that many black belts, but I mean, you got a whole. It's not like they're all first degree black belts.
Right.
If you might have 300 or 400 black belts, and let's say there's 400 of them, but 300 of them or a fourth dan and above.
Right.
How? Come on, man. I mean,
Right.
you've got common sense has got to set in somewhere.
Right. Well, it's hailing actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I look at the doors. It's hailing. So we'll see if my car has a windshield left.
Oh Lord.
I don't know if you can hear it. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I may get some extra money from the insurance company.
There you go. Yep.
I can barely hear myself, so if I'm too loud, I can fix that in post. So I've got another one I want to show you. Let me see I do this right and get your thoughts, because I think when people think of McDojos, this is one of the things they think of. But these people are still around, and they scam all the time. So
Tom Cameron.
Tom Cameron, yeah. So I'm gonna go and
Do you know they can also be ground?
I'm gonna go to
Enjoy
where he
degree
starts.
Black belt
Though.
in Taekwondo.
Yeah, I've got
I'm a
it now.
fourth degree in
It's showing.
Hapkido, and I also have black belts in several other different art styles. The reason that I'm here today is I'm going to be showing off some of the techniques that we've learned that utilize pressure points as well as energy projection and sound. I have my assistant here, Samantha. She's one of my black belt inductees, and she's going to be working with me.
Samantha, what else?
We're going to start out with very basic types of moves. If somebody grabs you, you can utilize a pressure point on the wrist to, if you punch it and come back, it numbs the hand. It causes the hand to reflex open. People are incapable of being able to hold on to an opponent. If I'm coming out from underneath, she can strike a pressure point on the hand, rub it, and then utilize pressure on the elbow joint. So a lot of it requires joint manipulation, but it doesn't require any kind of strength. It doesn't require any kind of physical acuity. The thing that sets our art apart is the fact that we do use energy projection as well as sound. I'm going to use one of the stage people here. Andy is going to be my catcher later on. But for right now, what I want to do is, if you grab hold of my hand, like a Roman grab, good. Now I'm going to try and pull you. I want you to resist as much as possible. Do not, get down in a good stance. Don't let me pull you. Resist. But the sound, okay, thank you. But the sound to get the energy in the room moving towards me is actually the word me. So if he resists, resist, and I say me, he's not able to resist me any longer. The energy actually forces him towards me. Now, because I'm a bigger guy, I can use physical force to do that. But if I'm doing it with a young lady like this, and I can resist, I can fight it, she can't get me. But if she uses that word,
Me.
she actually is
You
able
see, he
to
starts running.
pull me off of my feet. There are sounds or phonemes that work for every direction.
Oh, for the love
Now
of
I'm going
Pete.
to try and push you. Get down into like a football stance. There you go. Come on a little closer to the
I
microphone, I
like
guess.
the more heavy guy just
And
tackle
don't
his brother
get one
around.
leg behind the other, so you got a really good stance. Don't let me push you. Good. The sound is ho. So if I go ho,
Oh, ho, ho,
you gotta
ho.
resist. Try it one more time. Don't let me push you. It seems very strange
Oh.
to us
Yes, it
Westerners
is.
that we think that
Let me
a
push
simple
this
sound
hoe.
or a phoneme would have the ability to affect a person in that way. What's even stranger
There's so many ways you
is
could
the
take
idea
the
that
me and whole
using
thing,
the
you know?
sound and projecting energy can actually knock somebody out. Samantha is going to try for her first time to actually knock me out using just the
I'd love to
sound
knock him out.
and the energy projection. Let me get this out of the way.
Yeah, you may run into that like you ran into that room divider.
Yeah, exactly.
You ready, Bill?
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord. those slaps on the side of the neck knock him out easier than
Right.
her.
Well, if you slap that carotid just right, you could knock him out.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that happen roundhouse kicks and judos.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But this is so hokey. One, crossing the
It
legs
is.
is actually not very good when you're trying to get blood flow. That's actually not good at all.
You
No.
should be able to see that the pupils are actually
And
dilated.
actually, if somebody is knocked out, you want their head lower than,
Right.
you want their head back where the heart is on the level plane and their feet raised up.
Yeah.
And
And they
the
all,
blood will get back to the heart and the brain.
yeah. And all these groups that do this no-touch knockout baloney, like the Dillmans,
Yeah.
they all slap them to wake them back up. It's just as amazing to me.
Well, the thing about this is, when he was talking about, joint locks and pressure points and stuff like that, the nerves on the top of the head, that's real. That's
Right.
real stuff. And you can manipulate joints, and that's real stuff, because the military teaches that and their combatives courses. Law enforcement teaches that and their defensive tactics
Right.
portion of basic law enforcement training, joint manipulation, get somebody down on the ground, manipulate their joints, cause them pain to get their hands behind their back so you can handcuff them and arrest them, right? So all that stuff, the way he started out, it was pretty legit. But all this poof,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you won't fall over backward and go unconscious. That's a bunch
Right.
of baloney.
Well, and that's the thing, though. I think the devil always lies with the truth. So, I mean, but the audience may not know. I used to be a professor of religion for 5 years at McMurray University. So my undergrad and postgrad works in religion and philosophy. And what do you see at the Garden of Eden? You see the serpent comes, and the serpent doesn't completely lie. The serpent's just deceitful. He says,
Right.
if you have this fruit, God knows you won't surely die. You'll just know, like him, good and evil. Well, there's some truth to that. They will have a deeper knowledge of good and evil. They actually already have it because they know they're not supposed to go to the tree. But they'll have a
Right.
deeper knowledge. And he says, and that will make you like God. Well, that's the lie. You won't be like God. You're really going to have an idea of evil now. Yes, you're going to live it, not just intellectually know about it. You'll live it. And you won't die right away, but you will die. And so that's the deception that a lot of people do in life. And you see this here with Cameron and his ilk, is that they show a little bit of the truth. There is such a thing as joint manipulation. Even the one he showed is poppycock. But there is joint manipulation. And when we were both in law enforcement, there's ways you do try to get and handcuffing and restraint of people where you can lock them in and sometimes it works. Sometimes you have to be creative and you have to work it out more, but they can work. But he sells it to build up to this thing that doesn't work, and that's no touch.
Right.
And that's the thing. They're like serpents in the Garden of Eden. They prey on the innocence, for lack of a better word, of people who don't know better, who are looking for some sort of magical way to make themselves better and not have to work as hard. I mean, I've tied my belt incorrectly before, not gotten the length right or whatever, but at least it was tied. I mean, her belt's not even tied. It's just flipped over. I don't know if you noticed that.
I was going to mention something about that. Her belt's just, there's no top knot there.
There's no top knot, right?
She doesn't have it tied. It's just like wrapped around her.
Right. Yeah. And so there's so much on Thomas Cameron. I picked that one because I think that one's probably the less seen one. The other one that's really seen is the one where the news goes into his studio, and kind of tests his claims and stuff. And as far as I know, I just looked up, he's still out there teaching. Even though this information's out there, he still gets students. There are still people who take from him and people like him. And to me, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I think for these obvious fakes like what this is, people really don't want to do what it takes to become a real black belt. And they look for the easy way out. So people like Tom Cameron is their easy way out. They don't have to go through a crucible, if you will, like we do in our black belt test.
Right.
They know that only thing they got to do is to stay in there, dish out some money, and they're going to get their black belt, and that's all they live for is just a color of a belt to put around your waist.
Right.
There's difference in getting a black belt and being a black belt.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Being a black belt comes from the heart. It doesn't
Right.
come from what's wrapped around your waist.
Right.
It comes from the heart.
Yeah.
Knowledge up here, the heart right here.
Yeah.
I could give whatever you got tied around your waist is not going to save you in the street.
No, it won't save you at all.
It's what you got upstairs and how committed you are right here in your heart.
Right. I got one more I'm going to show here. Let me see if I can find it. Watch this one because it even gets worse. The no-touch knockout to EMF is what he calls it.
Heck? How can you show your face in public after doing some crap like that?
Yeah. And this guy has got like a cult following almost in Europe. Yeah. Just amazing.
That's friggin' disgraceful. It's ridiculous. It's disgraceful. It's just, and you know what? It pisses me off.
Right.
That there's people out here like this wearing a black belt that makes us all look bad.
Right. Yeah, and there's
for the people that gets it legitimately.
Oh, right. And there's so many people like him. This guy's pretty popular. Well, he was. And he's been exposed in Europe, but he's still teaching. It's interesting, at least in his videos, it's the same Uki. It's that same guy all the time. Like with the camera, where they hit you here, then hit you here, then hit you here, and you're going to go down. Yeah. No, like when he grabbed her arm and she hits his arm, the minute you go for my arm, you have no guard in your head. He's got your one hand, right. Your other hand's hitting my arm. I'm going to pulverize your head and neck.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead, hit my arm all you want. You're not going to get a second lick to my head because I'm going to knock you so hard into next year, you're going to time travel. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Wham. And so and it's all that kind of stuff. No, that you don't have time to do that in a real confrontation. You don't have time. People don't hold your arm and wait for you to hit them 3 times to put them down.
Right.
Arm, bicep, and neck. No.
Oh, and you have to have your tongue in the right place.
The right place. Yeah, there's that video of him.
Remember that?
Yeah. Well, they got the toe shift and the tongue in the right place. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's just nonsense. Just absolutely nonsense.
I don't know if I should say that on film, but if the guy had his tongue in the wrong position of the mouth, that can also nullify it. Yeah, you can nullify it. You can nullify a lot of things done to you. In fact, you can nullify it if you raise those 2 big toes. Plus, if I say I'm going to knock you out, and you raise 1 toe and push 1 toe down, can't knock you out. And then if I go to try again, you reverse it. If you keep doing this, I won't knock you out. Plus,
oh, geez, come on, none of it works. Yeah, it just doesn't work. And that's the sad though, because those people are still out there. I don't want to say names because you know them better than I do, but we know somebody who follows one of these people, and and the bad thing is many of them, like the guy we know, is a legitimate black belt in another style.
Yeah.
So
they're falling for it. They're believing it.
Yeah, and
they're drinking too much Kool-Aid.
Right, and I don't get that. How you can fall for that when you already know better.
Yeah.
It's again, since I'm a theologian, I'll put it into the form of terms I understand. I hope others, as a Christian, I already know what's authentic. And I know there may be a little bit of diversity within that authenticity, just like in martial arts. Some people prefer grappling, some prefer striking. Some methods will have you throw a side kick this way, some will tell you to do it this way. But they're all at least legitimate things to discuss and try. And then you get out of that, and then you just get the weird. And I look at that, like to me, the health and wealth gospel, the Benny Hinn's. No, that's not diversity and unity. That's madness, And that's the same thing with these guys, the McDojos here. I'm like it can get me going, just scamming people. And the worst thing, these people may have to defend themselves someday.
Yep.
And you're gonna
get killed.
They're gonna get killed. If you're fighting hard enough, you're defending yourself. You may lose the fight, but you have a chance of surviving if you did things right.
Yeah.
There's always a better fighter out there, but you still or someone get lucky, but you have a shot because you put some wounds on them.
Yeah.
But when you do this, you just encouraged it.
Yeah.
That's all you did was encourage a better beating. That's all you did. It's like I tell people, don't run from a predator. He's just going to beat you up worse because you ran.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just going to die tired if you start running from him.
You know, because people says, "Oh, I'll just run." Give it a try. He's going to catch
Yeah.
you probably, and then when he
Yep.
catches you, he's going to be more of a predator because you showed fear. You fight
Right.
back, you may lose, but you'll leave some marks on him, and guess what? He
Right.
may just leave you alone, back
Yeah.
away. You know,
Yep.
yeah. I just
And sometimes it only takes one punch or one kick.
it does, yeah.
You know?
Sometimes you get the right spot. You can see we had a very long discussion. So this is part 1, and we'll be posting part 2 here pretty soon. We actually went for about an hour and a half total in this session. I hope you all have a great day. See you at part 2. Thank you. Bye-bye.